Hello and welcome to the Route One show. I'm delighted to say we're looking at Huddersfield Town now, and joining us from the Huddersfield Hub is Steve Browne. Steve, how are we doing, mate?
Not bad. How's yourself?
Very well, thank you. So, Matt Fotheringham, he's gone. Now, last week, you weren't very happy with him. You weren't happy with how he was doing as Huddersfield Town boss. But your reaction to this, were you surprised? Did you expect it to kind of drag on for a little bit longer than it did?
I was shocked that he didn't go 10 minutes after the Blackpool debacle, to be quite frank. But they obviously had a nice little discussion in the morning and came to the conclusion that Matt Fotheringham had to go. So, no, I wasn't shocked. I was, I never like to see managers sacked. You don't like to see people lose their job. I mean, you've got to be some sort of weird individual that wants to see people constantly lose their job. But he had to go, really. There was no choice. There was nowhere left for the club to go. Against Blackpool, the performance was dire. It was dire.
But they were winning 2-0, weren't they? I mean, what happened?
Well, no, we weren't winning 2-0. So we were winning 1-0.
Oh, 1-0, sorry.
Then Medine got red carded for what looked like a bit of an elbow in Pearson's face. So he got red carded, went in at half time. You're thinking, right, 10 men Blackpool, they are one of the worst sides currently in the division. Even though they've got Mick McCarthy, they are horrendously bad. Right, we're not playing Burnley, we're not playing Norwich, we're playing Blackpool. Yeah, they've got 10 men, and surely we can beat these. So, half time, what should the message have been? Right, lads, don't flipping mess it up. That's all that had to be the message. And I've obviously made sure that was not expletive, but so you don't have to bleep it out. But you can imagine what that message should have been. So we come out second half, and what did we do? We messed it up. Blackpool get a goal back. We then score in the 86th minute, right? And you're thinking, okay, 10 men Blackpool. Yeah, we've already had a scare, but we've got back in front. Josh Karoma, great goal. The players look like they're a bit relieved, but at the same time, really passionate to get the goal back. 86 minute, let's just see it out. 4 minutes, 5 minutes, that's all you've got. And then within about 3 minutes, Blackpool scored again, and it's just like the defending, honestly, I've seen better defending on Sunday league football games between pubs after everybody's smashed the night before. I just don't understand it. What were the players? These are experienced lads. They're not 18-year-old development players that have never kicked a ball in anger. These are lads that, Matt Loughton and Pearson and Lees, who are all above 30-year-old.
Well, I'd heard a lot of commentary about kind of Huddersfield Town's defence. Kind of that was the okay part. The problem was the attack. But from the sounds of it, it just sounded like it was all going to pot.
No, you've obviously not seen the wonderful highlights of the goals from Blackpool's point of view. Fotheringham tried to chuck some subs on in the second half, and he has been criticised in terms of all his substitutions throughout his tenure. I think he's had one good game where he's made the right subs, but he tried to go more attacking. He put plenty of attacking play. Knockout, put the young lad Headley on at left back, who was a bit more attacking. So he tried to put more attacking players on, but at the same time, you can't put attacking players on and then your defence goes to absolute pot. I mean, it doesn't work like that. So 2-2, obviously the players go over to the fans at the end of the game. They get a bit of a round of applause. Thanks very much, lads, for your efforts. All that. We were, not very good. But then Fotheringham goes over and he's had a bit of a laugh and a joke with Mick McCarthy. Now, I don't understand what either of them thinks funny in this situation where we're both in the bottom three, but
read the room.
Maybe they want their heads banging together. I don't know. Obviously Mick will have been pleased that his side snatched a draw from absolute jaws of defeat. But Fotheringham shouldn't have been laughing at all. I mean, to be smiling and thinking that it's all right, and then walking over to the supporters, who obviously didn't give him the nicest of receptions, which is fair enough. They've paid the money, they've gone a long way, and we are the lifeblood of any football club. In the country, the supporters, and we're entitled to have our say. And I think, he turned around, walked back down the tunnel, and then came out in the press afterwards and said, all the players are angry in there, and there's a lot of anger in the dressing room, and great. It's full time now. It's 2-2. Game's finished. Where were the anger on the pitch to defend properly, not like Muppets? Where were the anger to go and kill the game off against a 10-man side that is in worse form than us? But they didn't.
Do you think the players had slightly given up? How players can do when it's getting towards the end of a reign. Do you get the sense that the players had kind of, right, it's just not happening here?
I genuinely believe the players had given up a number of games ago. I don't think they've given up on the club. Even with the second goal with Josh Karoma, you can see the celebrations. You can see that they're wanting to fight and be passionate and help to keep the club. I don't think it's the players that are the problem. I think, we could have better players, but Tom Lees were a good player last year. You don't turn it into a bad player like so quickly. Matt Loughton, a good professional, all right, not the quickest fullback, but he's a good, solid, experienced professional who should know what he's doing. He don't turn into a rubbish player overnight. I genuinely believe they've just had no idea with what they're trying to do in terms of a tactical display, understanding what Fotheringham's instructions are. And I think they just lost confidence in him. And I don't know whether they ever had confidence in him to begin with, to be honest, because if they did, we wouldn't have produced the results that we have. And it doesn't help when he pulls players out and drops them for 4 week or 3 week or whatever, like he has with Etienne Kamara, Jackson, who been performing quite well for a couple of weeks before that, or even Sorba Thomas just pulls him out the side, Dwayne Holmes. And then says different in the press. So I think, he's obviously said things in the press, which is opposite to what he's obviously said in the dressing room or on the training ground. And I think he will, too out of his depth. I wanted him to succeed like I do every town manager, as bad as they might end up being. I want them to succeed at the start. I never think we appoint anybody, and as town fans, we don't want them to succeed. I don't think it works like that. We're not a volatile fan base, and that's what makes it even more frustrating. The fact that we're not a volatile fan base, so it takes a lot for town fans to start protesting about anything because we're not that sort of fan base. But when we do, people's got to sit up and listen, and they've got to take notice, because without us as supporters, there is no club. There isn't Huddersfield Town Football Club. We saved it in 2003 and in the administration, kept it going. The supporters kept it going, collection buckets and all that, as you well know, which a lot of clubs have done throughout the years, and a lot of supporters have saved their other clubs. But for our football club, without us as fans, then there is no tangible connection. And unfortunately, whilst Matt Fotheringham is obviously a very good family man, wanted to do his best, was very passionate, he didn't have the experience, the tactical nous to perform at this level. And at this level, you get found out very easily, and he got found out straight away. And as a fan base, we're not thick, we're not deluded. We know where we should. We have an idea of where we should be and what we should be doing. And that clearly wasn't happening in the dugout.
No,
and that's why he had to go. It's simple.
Yeah, and it's a pretty dismal record, isn't it? Really, I mean, it's five wins in 21 games. He's only lasted 134 days in the job, and for the second time this season, Steve, we're on talking about, a new manager coming in. The statement from the board was short and sweet as well. It seemed to me that it was just almost like an admission of this has just been an absolute disaster. And there was nothing to credit him with, was there really? There was nothing, they couldn't even really say that he'd done anything, at all really in that role. I mean, we've mentioned it before, and obviously Lee Bromby, put a lot into this appointment and said it had to be right. What happens next, really? I know they're going for a new manager now, but is it going to be another unknown? Is it going to be another up-and-comer? Or is it now time to get a name in that role?
It can't be another up-and-comer. You can't have another novice. Obviously, Narcis Palash will take the fixture at Wigan at the weekend. A must-win game. Oh, my God, it's another must-win game. We've got to get 3 points at the weekend. There is no ifs, buts and maybes. And I think the players will really, really put their whole heart into the match for him. And he obviously managed us when Danny Schofield was relieved of his duties, and Narcis took the game at Cardiff against Cardiff, and we won Cardiff that day, and played with a lot more zest and spiel and that sort of thing, and get up and go, and it was a good atmosphere in the ground. And I think there will be a sense on Saturday against Wigan of right, we've now I don't want to be harsh with him, but we've now got somebody who obviously was deluded and didn't know what he was doing, to somebody who has a semblance, who knows the players. He has an idea of where tactically we're good and where we're weak, and can put a system in place. He plays 4-2-3-1, which probably suits us as a side more than the formation that Fotheringham's been playing. He won't play 5 at the back. We might be a bit more attacking on the ball. So, Narcis will come in and do his best. He might have it for a couple of games. We've got 3 games in 9 days. Obviously, it's in that time the club will be looking for a replacement. But yeah, it's got to be somebody who's been there and done it. I said that last time though, and we got what we got. We got an absolute somebody who'd never been heard of. So we'll see. Chris Wilder is the one I will go for. I will pay a pretty penny to go and get him. I believe I don't know. There's rumours that he's over in America having a little chill period at the moment. Well, I'd be straight on the phone to him or his agent saying, get yourself back to England, and you might be enjoying your time in California or wherever he is, but the sunny Huddersfield needs you. So yeah, that's what I'd be doing. Chris Hughton's been mentioned. I think the only problem with Chris Hughton is he tends to be better when he comes in at the start of a season. He's not really one to come in and save clubs. Neil Warnock would have been the ideal, but he's busy now in retirement, enjoying going down around the country telling a few stories, so he won't be up.
Dean Smith?
No, I don't. I don't think Dean Smith is the right sort that we need. I think he's a good manager, but at this moment in time, we need somebody who's got a bit about them.
I've got someone for you.
Go on.
Jesse Marsh.
No, we don't need Ted Lasso. No, we don't.
Are you sure? He's talked about clarity a lot.
Yeah, well, we've had enough of clarity. We're quite clarified on that we've been crap for the majority of the season, so we don't need another person to come in and say what we've to put more clarity on the situation. We need somebody who's going to organise the players on the pitch and actually come up with some results. Liam Richardson's been mentioned. Was slightly harshly sacked at Wigan. It'd be interesting to see if he was brought in before the weekend, but that's not going to happen. But yeah, he's another name that has been strongly mentioned. Liam Manning, ex MK Dons. I'm not interested in that name. I think he might be a nice enough chap, but what's he done? We need somebody. We need somebody who knows the division. Liam Richardson, all right, doesn't know the division amazingly well, only got Wigan promoted, but he's worked in circumstances at that football club that were even in more dire situation than we are. Obviously with the whole finances behind the scenes there, so he can work in tough situations with players that are not the best. So that will be an interesting appointment. But Chris Wilder's my man. I think we should go and pay whatever he wants really and get him in the building. But as we well know, Town pay a packet of crisps and a cream scone to get these managers in, and Chris Wilder's probably not going to do it for a packet of ready salted, is it? So...
Well, this is it. I mean, and also I think they're fools if they don't, though, because you look at that situation in the league now. You're about to get to that 30-game mark, after the next game, and it's just crunch time, isn't it? And it's like you say, you need someone in there who has got a proven track record of they can go into a dressing room, they can fire them up, get the points. It's not a time for experiments now, is it?
No, it wasn't last time, but
no.
But it's even more or less now. I think with a perfect job for Wilder, if I'm honest. Apparently he went in for the Wigan job and the Portsmouth job, who obviously they're in League One. So he's not against going for lower style jobs. There is a job at Town at the moment. I know there's one at Leeds, but there is one at Town. I think after the Borough episode that he's had, he's probably got knocked a little bit.
Yeah.
His reputation's got slightly tarnished in a sense, and probably the way he left Sheffield United in a bit of a cloud. So we're the perfect sort of blank canvas and platform for him to build that reputation up, keep us in the division and then build on next season. There might be new ownership by the time we come to next August. That situation is still bubbling behind the scenes and maybe being moved forward at a pace that the majority of people don't know. So it'll be interesting to see how this season, if we do stay up, how it ends and how we go into the summer. And I just feel that if the unthinkable happened and we did go down, Wilder is a very good manager to get us back out of that League One division. Obviously, as our promotions before, Northampton, and did well at Oxford, and got Sheffield United out of League One and out of the Championship and into the Premier League. So he's got that experience of doing that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you surprised that? It's very similar to Leeds. What Leeds have done, they've obviously had a transfer window. You had the World Cup break, you had the transfer window. That slammed shut. Another poor result. Manager's gone. How frustrating is that really when you think, well, surely they should have acted sooner really and given a new manager a transfer window. But, there was nothing a month ago to suggest it was going to work really, was there?
No, I just sacked him before the World Cup break, but yeah. I think the majority of supporters were... Well, the majority of supporters now are glad he's gone. I think it was more of a 60-40 split of, well, let's give him a chance. He's only been in the job a month or whatever at that point, 2 months. So let's give him a chance. Let's see what he can do with the World Cup break. But when you see performances against Blackpool, outthought, outfought, outpassioned, outpassed, outshot, out any tactical abundance of ideas, just a wet wipe of instances where you could just clean the floor and just say what was wrong with that performance, and then to come out after the game and speak to the press and say, is your job under threat? No, absolutely not. I'm quite happy with the job I'm doing at the moment. You're talking fairy tale, Andy. You might as well just give in them, because if you think that you're happy and doing a good job when your club's sat third bottom of the league, then you want, I'm blind, but you want your eyes testing really, because it was just an absolute joke. And to be honest, took the supporters for a bit of a ride, I thought, really, in some of his comments. I know that there's other podcasters and fans out there that have said that, you know, some of the things that Fotheringham was said that was taken out of context, but it wasn't really. I mean, we've proved, haven't we, with what he said about Sorba Thomas, that he said that he hadn't really spoke to him for a couple of weeks. And then suddenly, in the same breath, he's saying, well, Sorba went to the club and said that he wanted more minutes, and that's why he was sent to Blackburn. So he's either talked to the club or he hadn't talked to the club.
Yeah.
So, and you obviously haven't got any, charge of your squad, and you obviously don't know what's going on. So, you know, how are you supposed to succeed? And that's why I think he would have his depth and he needed to go. And when, like I say, when you get a side that, you know, doesn't have any tactical, you know, appreciation of what they're doing on the field, and they're experienced players, then I think the end was nigh. I certainly wouldn't have given him the Wigan game, definitely not. And you know, he might turn up somewhere in like the 15th league of the Milk Cup, you know, in Derbyshire or something. You know, you never know, do you? But I don't think we'll see him at this level ever again. It's too bigger level for him, and I think also he needs to go away and just look at how he spoke, how he dealt with people, how he dealt with the press, how he comes across. You know, you can't keep coming out and saying that you've got all this experience in Germany, and then not proving that. You know, it's all right saying it, but there's got to be some proof in the pudding, hasn't there?
Yeah.
And you know, you look at coaches like Pep Guardiola and you know, Mourinho and that, and they say some absolute daft stuff, but at least they can prove that they've won a few cups along the way, haven't they? And took some sides to some performances. I'm not saying Huddersfield Town are that level at all, but within every club, you've got to have a manager that at least he might have ambition, but he's got to have humility and respect for the supporters that he's talking to. And I sometimes think that Mr. Fotheringham forgot that slightly, and that's what he needs to work on. I hope he gets another job. I hope he gets another chance. But, you know, for us, wrong person, wrong appointment, wrong time, and now we need to move on and we need to stay in this division. We've got one last chance to stay in this division. The board have to get this correct. Yeah. There's no second chances. There's no, oh, sorry, we'll try again. It's finished. It's either you get it right or you get it wrong. It ends in relegation or we survive. And then the club can be sold.
Hand on heart then, where do you think they'll get relegated this season, or do you think they'll get over the line?
Depends who we get in. It all depends who we get. If we go for somebody like I said, Liam Manning or somebody of that ilk who hasn't done it at this level, we're going down. Because it is clear to see that the inner workings of the club do not believe that they are, they have the finances or the structure to keep going in the Championship. If they go for somebody like Chris Wilder or, like I say, Houghton or even Liam Richardson, there's a chance that, we might survive. That we can pull Cardiff in there. Cardiff are not a good side, and we have got a game in hand. But we have to beat Wigan on Saturday to give us a starting chance anyway. And I think we will beat Wigan. I honestly said this last night. If we went into the Wigan game with Fotheringham in charge, Wigan would have beaten us with 8 men. They could have had 3 men sent off and beaten us, because that's how poor we are. But now I think there'll have been a bit more positivity on the training ground today. People might have been not while smiling, because they can't smile in the situation, but I think there'll have been a bit more, right, let's sort it now. We're obviously a little bit fitter than what we were at the start of the season. That's the only thing that Fotheringham probably brought, was a better fitness regime, because he ran them into the ground. As he once said in his press conference, he wanted the players throwing up in Marbella. Well, you know, he clearly got them fitter, but along with that fitness, there was no quality. You know, we're not playing athletics here. It's not. We're not running around a 400-metre track and it's whoever wins. It's a game of football. It's played with a round ball and they need some tactics going with it. And he didn't have any tactics. But Narcis does. I believe in Narcis. I think he speaks really well. I think he gets us. I think he worked under Corbran. So he's got some coaching nous there.
Is there a chance he could get it permanently?
I don't think he wants it. He said last time he didn't want it. Whether he's changed his mind, I don't know. He's probably seen how crap it's been. That he probably thinks that he can't do a worse job, can he? So, it's very difficult to say whether he should get it, because whilst he gave us that lift against Cardiff, that was one game. I remember Mark Lillis in League years ago. Mark Lillis took us for like a game against Palace and a cup game at Leicester. And he cried on radio afterwards. Obviously, Mark is a town legend. Met him plenty of times. Lovely bloke and all that. Absolute legend of the club. Couldn't say a bad word about him. And we beat Leicester in the cup, and we beat Palace in the league. And it was like, give the job Mark Lillis.
Yeah.
But then he came to a second time stint, and it didn't go quite as well. So. You've got to be careful with interim managers that you don't get carried away. I think we've seen that with other clubs, by the way. Duncan Ferguson at Everton is a good example of that. Another legend at that club, and results didn't go as well as what Everton fans would have hoped when he was in charge. So you've got to be careful. I think, again, Narcis, well, he's worked in this the club for a few years now, and he's worked in this league. He's still a rookie novice, really. And I don't know whether he wants it full time. So, take us for 3 games these next 9 days, get us winning, put some passion in, and get us some 3 points. And then let's get a manager in like Chris Wilder who, can get the troops together and just batter the last 15 or whatever games we've got after that, and stay in the division. We have to stay in this division. Can't go down. Just can't go down.
No, we'll be keeping a close eye. We'll be speaking again hopefully next week, Steve, and see where we're at then. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, if you've liked the content, please give the video a like and also subscribe to the Route 1 Show YouTube channel as well for more content like this. Steve, as always, pleasure. Hopefully next week things are looking a bit brighter, but I think I've said that to every week since we started the show, so I'll just shut up saying it now.
Well, it's been like the winter period. The clouds have been dark, haven't they? So we're coming into that springtime now. They might start to lift. Hopefully by May we can have a bit of sun. I can say town, get my shades on. Town's stayed up and we're moving forward. But until then, let's just say cheers for having me on though.
Thank you.